He called me at 4:20 this morning and said, "Oh, sorry, Mum, I called you by mistake." And as he does silly things like that sometimes, I just put the phone down and said, "OK, don't worry." But then he called me back again straight away and said, "Sorry, Mum, I did call you by mistake." And I said, "OK, don't worry." But it bothered me slightly. There was a funny feeling about it. And then when I got up this morning and saw the news, I just knew that he was on the ferry that was on fire. So that's obviously why he called me, but then must have thought, well, I won't tell Mum because she'll be worried to death, which of course I am.
So you haven't spoken to him since that early morning call?
I have. I spoke to him about 6 hours ago. He called me and he was his usual jolly self and being silly, which he always is because he knew that I would be worried. And he said, "Well, I don't have a car anymore, you don't have your iPad anymore, they've all gone." And I said, "Oh, for goodness sake, I'm not worried about that. What about you two? Are you two all right?" Because he's there with his fiancée. And are you going to be able to get off that ship? And he said, "I don't know." And at that stage, I didn't realise how serious it was.
Gosh, and what did he say to you about the circumstances, about the situation they were in, about what help they were getting?
He didn't really say an awful lot. He said that he thought the fire had started down on the vehicle deck and that they were all standing outside. And I said, "But it's just so awful, Nicholas, for us, we don't know anything." He said, "Well, it's an awful lot worse for us because we're actually standing out here in the pouring rain and thunder and lightning, and we really don't just know exactly what's going to happen." And then I suppose he would sense that I would then be worried, and so "I've got to go, Mum, I've got to go, Mum," and that's, I haven't spoken to him since.
Did he say anything at all about what rescue efforts were being made or whether they were trying to evacuate people onto lifeboats, anything like that?
Nothing. He didn't say anything like that at all. Nothing.
And what's he doing there? Because he lives in Greece, doesn't he?
He works in Greece and he comes backwards and forwards, and he was on his way home for New Year with his fiancée because he wasn't home at Christmas, so he was on his way home driving. So he was driving and taking the ferry, which would be a 24-hour journey, and then driving on to us here through Holland and Belgium and so on. So yes, it's a worry.
Gosh, a very worrying time, difficult time for you. We do appreciate you coming live onto Sky News to tell us about those phone calls with your son, and we hope, fingers crossed, that you do hear good news and he's all well and safe with his fiancée shortly. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.